The first day I moved into the bully's dorm, she noticed the bracelet on my wrist. It was the one the rich kid, Harry, had posted online. Everyone at school knew Harry was arrogant and cruel, but lately, he'd become obsessed with some girl. No one knew what she looked like. He was using only a bracelet to find her. It sounded like a fairy tale. The bully gleefully snatched my bracelet and went to Harry's birthday party. But she didn't know that a week ago, I'd attacked Harry from behind and nearly strangled him to death with that very bracelet. Harry was furious. He'd sworn that night that if he found me, he'd kill me. When I dragged my suitcase into dorm room 312, Amber was on the balcony, smoking. She looked me up and down, slowly exhaled smoke, and scoffed. "So, you're Sarah, the one who got one more vote than me in last month's campus beauty pageant. Not bad looking, but you dress so frumpy. Covering up like that is such a waste of a good figure. Why don't we help you fix that?" She casually flicked her cigarette butt off the balcony, waved over another girl, and the two of them started tugging at my clothes while someone else stood by, taking pictures. "Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Showing off isn't such a good idea." I fought back tears and tried to shield myself. Amber's gaze fell on my wrist, and she suddenly froze. "Wait, is this yours?" The other girls' faces changed instantly. They must have recognized it. The long star link bracelet on my wrist was the one the campus heartthrob, Harry, was frantically searching for. Amber was the dean's daughter. She'd used her dad's connections to get into this prestigious university as an art student and always threw her weight around. But Harry was different. He also didn't care about academics, but he got into this school because his family had donated 5 lab buildings. They'd practically funded half the campus. So, in the 2 years Harry had been enrolled, his violent temper meant no one dared to mess with him. He broke all sorts of school rules, but the administration always managed to cover it up. To suck up to Harry's family, they even nominated him as a school ambassador, letting him hog the spotlight. Harry was already famous, but recently, he'd been even more talked about. Because a week ago, he'd started frantically searching for a girl on the school's official website. No photo, no description of her looks, just a unique, handmade star link bracelet. Harry said whoever could tell him who owned the bracelet would get a 20,000 reward, and even those providing clues would get 5,000. The bracelet the whole school was after was, at this very moment, on my wrist. Amber's look turned to one of jealousy and disdain. "So, the girl Harry likes is you." Almost everyone assumed that the girl Harry was so publicly searching for was someone he'd fallen in love with at first sight. People had even spun several romantic stories. The rebellious Harry, smitten by a mysterious girl, couldn't eat or sleep, single-mindedly trying to find her. How much like a fairy tale. Even Amber believed it. The next second, she grabbed my hair viciously and reached for my bracelet. "Now, this is mine." Tears streaming down my face, I clutched my wrist tightly, begging, "Please, don't take it. It was my mom's, she made it herself. It's the only one in the world." Amber just laughed. "One of a kind? Even better. Then I'll be the only one who has it." She called the other girls to help, snatched the bracelet from my hand, and eagerly tried it on. The other girls looked a bit worried. What if Sarah tells everyone the bracelet is hers? Amber just shrugged. "She's an outcast who was forced to move into our dorm. I heard she has a weird temper and almost no friends. Who's gonna believe her?" They pinned me to the floor, demanding to know why Harry was looking for me, wanting every detail. Sobbing, I told them that a week ago, while I was feeding stray dogs, I saw a guy crash his motorcycle and helped him up. Amber snorted. Never thought Harry would go for the innocent, damsel in distress type. She admired the bracelet on her wrist, her voice full of anticipation. "Tomorrow night, at Harry's birthday party, I'll wear this. He'll definitely fall for me." I lowered my head, wiped my tears, and couldn't help but smirk. She didn't know that Harry was indeed looking for me like a madman, but not because of the love at first sight everyone imagined. A week ago, Harry had hit the old security guard who always held the door for me while street racing, dragged him for hundreds of feet, and then fled the scene. He was a psycho. So was I. The next night, under the cover of darkness, I attacked Harry in the parking garage, using my bracelet to choke him, nearly strangling him to death. Harry fought for his life, and I only let go when he was about to pass out from lack of air, then I hid in the shadows. Harry was furious. He screamed curses into the empty garage, swearing that when he found me, he'd kill me. He wanted the owner of the bracelet? Well, I'd give him one. I glanced at Amber out of the corner of my eye, eagerly anticipating the drama about to unfold. The next day, Amber was dressed impeccably, even buying a new outfit and shoes just to match the bracelet. Before leaving for the birthday party, she got a message. After reading it, she frowned at me and said impatiently, "You, come with me." I clutched my books, cowering and shaking my head. "No, I have to study." Amber snatched my book, ripped it in half, and threw it in my face, cursing, "People like you can read all the books you want, you'll still be trash." She sneered, draping an arm around my shoulder. "What are you afraid of? I'm just taking you to see the world, play a little game." After forcing me into a luxury car, she muttered, "What a stupid rule, having to bring a lab rat." I lowered my gaze, my eyes dark and unreadable. Lab rat was their slang. Vulnerable students with no background or ability to fight back were called lab rats, tools for their amusement and abuse. For tonight's birthday party, Harry must have prepared some special entertainment. When we arrived at Harry's family's private villa, Amber led me inside. Many people were already there, students with money and connections, holding wine glasses and wearing expensive clothes. There was the well-known student council president, the basketball team captain, and even a student star who'd been in a couple of teen dramas. On the other side, 4 or 5 students in plain, cheap clothes stood awkwardly in a corner. Amber shoved me towards them. "That's where you belong." I stumbled violently, falling among them. A guy asked Amber, "The one you brought is way too pretty. We can't bring ourselves to mess with her as a lab rat." Amber glanced at me meaningfully. "Pretty is perfect, isn't it? We can play some other games." "Who'd you bring this time?" The guy said, "The invisible guy from our department, a nerd named Leo. Heard he's an orphan. Perfect lab rat material." They talked about us like we were objects. I hid fearfully in the corner. When I looked up, my eyes met those of the guy named Leo. He had thick bangs and glasses thicker than bottle caps, cowering timidly behind a girl. The crowd erupted in laughter. "Look at that coward. Ha ha ha, wimp." It wasn't until Harry appeared in a perfectly tailored suit that the room quieted down. He eyed us, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "I've been in a really bad mood lately. I really need to play a game to blow off some steam. Harry, happy birthday," Amber said, handing him her gift and deliberately showing off the bracelet on her wrist. Harry glanced at it, and his face changed dramatically. He grabbed her wrist, hissing through clenched teeth, "This is yours?" Amber found it strange but didn't catch the dangerous tone in his voice. She just dumbly recited her rehearsed lines, "My mom made it herself, it's one of a kind." Before she could finish, Harry shoved her into our group. Amidst Amber's scream, Harry stared her down, a vicious smile spreading across his face. "Excellent. We have one more lab rat for today." Amber's face instantly turned deathly pale. She looked completely bewildered. "What do you mean? You're making me a lab rat?" "Harry, are you drunk?" "I'm Amber. My dad is Dean Ian." The other rich kids didn't understand either. Someone, trying to smooth things over, said, "Harry, if she offended you, can't we talk about it privately?" Harry just sneered, his face full of malice. Weren't you all curious who I've been looking for these past few days? A week ago, someone nearly strangled me to death in the parking garage. They attacked me from behind. I only managed to rip off a small piece of a bracelet. He pulled the broken piece of bracelet from his pocket. Everyone gasped. Because that small piece of bracelet was identical to the one on Amber's wrist, even the break matched perfectly. Harry advanced, grabbed Amber by the throat, and said, "This bracelet is one of a kind, you said so yourself." "Amber, I never realized you were that strong." He used all his strength in retaliation. Amber struggled wildly, her face turning beet red. After breaking free, she collapsed on the floor, coughing violently. It took her a while to recover before she remembered me, pointing at me with terror in her eyes. "It's hers. That bracelet is hers." I just looked dazed, shaking my head, my face pale. "Not me, not me." Amber lunged at me to hit me, but Harry kicked her down again. He smirked. "You take me for an idiot?" Amber suddenly remembered something. "My roommates, Jessica and Brittany, can prove it. They were there. Those two girls weren't important enough to be invited to this kind of party. They were probably back in the dorm." Amber immediately called them. The moment the call connected, Harry snatched the phone. He asked impatiently, "That bracelet Amber has, whose is it really?" The person on the other end was silent for a few seconds, clearly confused. Harry roared, "Whose the hell is it?" A panicked female voice quickly replied, "Of course it's Amber's." "Harry, did that bitch Sarah say something?" "She's lying." The call was abruptly disconnected. Amber's face was ashen. Her two roommates thought they were helping her, not knowing they were sending her to her doom. Harry's gaze swept over her, then to us, a malicious grin on his face. Let the games begin. This was a 4-story villa, 3 floors above ground, 1 basement level. They told us to hide within these 4 floors. After 10 minutes, they would take turns hunting us. Anyone found would face humiliating punishments. Someone had anonymously posted on the school website before, revealing that these punishments included, but weren't limited to, being stripped naked and forced to bark like a dog, kneeling to lick their feet, or even having their parents called while being beaten, forced to endure it all silently. Afterward, victims were threatened or bribed into silence. That post had only been up for half an hour before it was completely scrubbed. But filth like this, once it exists, someone will know. Everyone frantically searched for hiding spots in every room, terrified of being found. With time running out, I chose the far right room on the 2nd floor. Just as I pushed the door open, a strong hand yanked me behind it. I hadn't even had time to react when I smelled a familiar scent and immediately relaxed. Leo. The person behind me let go and shifted aside, making space. He leaned casually against the wall and clicked his tongue. "Heard you told everyone that bracelet I made was a memento from your mom?" I copied him, leaning against the wall and closing my eyes. "Your bracelet was cheap. It snapped so easily." He chuckled, shaking his head in mock exasperation. "Well, I didn't exactly give it to you so you could go around strangling people." I was about to say something when we heard footsteps outside the door. I mouthed silently, "Praise here." Harry and his crew would never guess that this villa, supposed to be their playground, had become our hunting ground. Normally, I was known as the timid one in the chemistry department, and Leo was the invisible guy from computer science. But at the same time, we were the psychos among ordinary people, and among psychos, we were the judges. Some villains used wealth and power to escape legal judgment. That's where we stepped in. We'd planned this takedown for 2 months and finally infiltrated their game. Now, the game truly began. I pretended to run around the room in a panic. When a guy with flashy earrings pushed the door open, I was just about to open the closet. Hearing the door, I acted startled and turned to him with a terrified look. Then I stumbled, backing away continuously. Don't come near me, please. The basketball team captain, Chad, clapped his hands gleefully. Ha ha ha, I can't believe I found a lab rat so quickly. I'm first this time. He loosened his tie, approaching me with a smirk. Let me think, what punishment should I give you? Before he could finish, a syringe plunged cleanly into his neck. Behind him, Leo had one hand on his neck, the other pushing the anesthetic. Chad didn't even have time to scream before he collapsed. Leo snapped his fingers. First one. Leo dealt with Chad, and I went out to find the next target. Downstairs in the living room, Harry was getting impatient. Damn it, what's Chad dawdling for? If he can't find anyone, he should just come back. Wasting my time. The others exchanged glances, eager to please. Harry, why don't you go look yourself? I'll call Chad and tell him to come back. Harry stubbed out his cigarette on the coffee table, grabbed a golf club, and headed upstairs excitedly. I wandered around the second floor, spotting a room near the staircase that looked like a good hiding place. If someone was hiding, someone would come looking. I was about to go in and lie in wait, but when I pushed the door open, I saw a girl sitting on the sofa. She had her hair in a ponytail and was bare-faced. I was startled, and so was she. She only relaxed when she saw it was me. After I closed the door, the girl looked down, her expression blank, and didn't look at me again. But my eyes followed her hand, and I saw the paring knife hidden in her sleeve. Hey, aren't you going to hide? I pretended not to see it, acting like a first-time lab rat who didn't know what to do. The girl gave a slight, bitter smile. It's useless. They'll find us no matter where we hide. They won't let us go. It seemed this wasn't her first time being brought here. And clearly, she had endured inhuman torment and wasn't willing to go through it again. There's a hidden room behind this bookshelf. You hide in there, she said flatly, pointing. I'll stay out here. You should be able to avoid this round. I watched her silently, not moving. She wanted to take one of them down with her, but it wasn't a good plan. Suddenly, a faint whistling sound came from outside the door, like a death knell, torturing one's nerves. The girl's eyes widened. Seeing I still hadn't moved, she finally got anxious and stood up, trying to push me into the hidden room. What are you doing? Don't you know the earlier you're found, the more disgusting the punishment? You won't be able to take it. But she never expected that, right in front of the hidden room, I'd sidestep and whisper in her ear, "Do you believe in the light?" As her eyes widened in shock, I shoved her into the room and locked the door. At the same time, the room door opened. Harry, dragging his golf club, saw me and his eyes lit up. Haven't seen you before. First time, huh? How's the game? Fun? My face was pale. I stumbled backward as he approached, then fell to the ground unsteadily. My fear gave him immense satisfaction. He grabbed my hair to drag me out. I choked back sobs, struggling. Please, let me go, please, I overheard Amber on the phone. The person who attacked you had an accomplice. I can tell you. Harry paused. He seemed to recall an unpleasant memory, crouching down and staring at me with a dark expression. Where's her accomplice? I moved my lips as if I couldn't speak because of a cough. Harry instinctively leaned closer. Behind him, Leo pulled out a cloth soaked in knockout drug and unhesitatingly covered his mouth and nose. Sigh. The accomplice who attacked you. Weren't we right here all along? Another one bagged. I rubbed my scalp, which was throbbing. Next one, you be the bait. Leo shrugged, lowered his head, hunched his shoulders, and instantly transformed into a cowering wimp. Over the next 20 minutes, Leo and I used the same method to capture one more person. It was that self-righteous little celebrity, Dylan. When the remaining people finally realized something was wrong and started searching upstairs as a group, we decided to call it a day. We had an escape route prepared in the villa's basement. Leo tossed the captives into a hidden passage and left first. I used Harry's phone to send a message to someone in the villa. This is boring. Took them out drinking. Don't bother me unless it's important. After turning off the phone, I was about to enter the passage. Suddenly, someone yanked me from behind. It was Amber, looking excitedly at the passage. This is a great hiding spot. They'll never find me. She shoved me hard. Get out of my way. Then she eagerly ran inside. Remembering Leo waiting at the exit, I texted him, "Get the knockout drug ready." Sigh. She practically gift-wrapped herself. Why are people so eager to get tied up? I really don't get it. The fake message I sent would only confuse them temporarily. By the time they figured it out, Harry and the others would already be tied up in an abandoned villa. In a dim, enclosed room, Harry was the first to wake up. He was securely tied and hanging from the ceiling. Realizing his situation, he broke down and roared, "Who the fuck did this? I'll kill you." No one answered him. Instead, Chad and the others were woken by his shouts, and another round of howling and screaming began. Holy shit! Where the hell are we? Are we kidnapped? Help! My family's rich. We have lots of money. Don't kill me. Their vulgar curses died down amidst a faint, intermittent humming sound. Everyone held their breath, staring at the iron door. A man in black, wearing a ghost mask, slowly walked in, holding a bloody axe. "Good evening, gentlemen." His tone was sarcastic and a bit unhinged. "I hear you all love to play games. How about we play one together?" The guys were too scared to even breathe loudly. I watched Leo's performance through the monitor, silent. Putting myself in their shoes, he was genuinely terrifying. Good thing I was on his side. Seeing Leo's signal, I pressed the pre-set broadcast button as planned. Almost simultaneously, a live stream link appeared on the homepages of major websites. The giant jumbotron in the city's main shopping center flickered as if malfunctioning, then lit up again, the camera focused on Harry's terrified face. At first, confused onlookers thought it was some new kind of TV show promotion and didn't pay much attention. Only the university student groups exploded. Holy crap, isn't that Harry? Is this some new kind of game? Game my ass. Does he look like he's acting? He's freaking kidnapped. Isn't that Chad, the basketball captain, hanging behind him? And the other one is Dylan. Dylan had been in a few teen dramas in the past couple of years and had a decent fan base. The online live stream quickly went viral. Are criminals this brazen now? Kidnapping and live streaming it. This is horrible. Someone call the police and save them. Hope those poor students are okay. The cronies who had been trying to contact Harry and the others turned pale when they saw the live stream. After a quick, shaken discussion, they rushed to call the police. Now, the game begins. In the room, Leo laughed manically. This abandoned villa has 3 floors. Go ahead and hide. But don't let me find you. If I find you, there will be a punishment. They all simultaneously thought of something, and their faces instantly turned deathly pale. They had created these game rules themselves. No one knew better than them how disgusting the punishments were. So, the moment their ropes were untied, they ran out like madmen. Leo stood still, even thoughtfully turning on the lights for them. Soon, desperate roars echoed one after another. No matter how they tried to escape, it was futile. This villa had been modified, transformed into a giant trap. Ready? Then let's begin. Leo smiled and pressed the timer. Harry and the others watched him in terror, scrambling to find hiding places. So much fun. I put on a matching ghost mask, adjusted my voice changer, and, dragging the slightly heavy axe, set off to play my NPC role. Harry panted heavily. Only now, being the lab rat himself, did he finally understand how lethal this fear was. His legs weak, he finally crawled to the 3rd floor. The kidnappers would surely start searching from the 1st and 2nd floors. He'd be temporarily safe on the 3rd. With that thought, Harry began to carefully choose a hiding spot. Countdown, 5, 4, 3. Leo's excited voice rang out. Harry shivered in fear, tremblingly pushing open the door in the farthest corner. Found you. I, who had been waiting there, suddenly appeared face to face with him. Seeing the identical ghost mask, Harry was scared out of his wits. Ah! He tried to run, but the door slammed shut behind him with a bang. Harry collapsed on the floor, too terrified to look at me, sweating profusely and clawing at the door, begging, "Help, help me. Can anyone save me?" I grabbed his hair, just as he had grabbed mine, and started dragging him out. Probably realizing I wasn't as strong or tall as Leo, Harry, with a sudden burst of courage, broke free and grabbed a chair. "You son of a bitch, go to hell." Just as he raised the chair, someone tasered him from behind. Watching him twitch on the floor like a landed fish, I sighed again. Who said there were only 2 psychos? When Harry woke up again, Chad and Dylan were cowering in a corner, terrified. He, however, was shirtless, tied up on the floor, with a dog leash around his neck. Leo, holding the other end of the leash, beckoned to him. "Congratulations, you were the first one found. Come on, crawl over here barking like a dog." He pointed to his shoe. "And then lick it clean." Everyone watching the live stream exploded. What are they doing? Are these kidnappers always this brazen? This is worse than animals. It's disgusting. Why don't they want money? Using such insane methods to torture people, could it be revenge? Where are the police? Hurry up and save these poor students. Uninformed but well-meaning people started condemning the kidnappers. University students were also shocked. The high and mighty Harry was actually having such a humiliating day. Shortly after the live stream started, the police received reports. The Harry, Chad, and Dylan families used all their connections to pressure them, demanding the boys be rescued within 24 hours. Learning that Harry and the others had disappeared from Harry's private villa, the police rushed to the scene. The few rich kids who had reported it were anxiously waiting at the scene. "What were you doing at the time?" Faced with questioning, they stammered, just a small get-together." An idealistic young cop frowned. "Was anyone else there besides you? Please don't hide anything. Missing even one clue could hinder the rescue. Your friends are in grave danger right now." The rich kids insisted it was only them. Their families were powerful, their disgusting activities absolutely couldn't be exposed. The lab rats they'd brought over had all run off that night and probably wouldn't risk trouble by coming forward. The police looked at the wine glasses at the scene and found the number matched. No, there was an extra glass. Including the 3 who were kidnapped. Why is there an extra wine glass on the table? Who was it? The guys looked at each other. Someone suddenly remembered. It was Amber. "I remember now," Harry said at the party, that Amber had attacked him a week ago. Amber must be the one who kidnapped them. The officers exchanged a look and immediately zeroed in on a prime suspect. Find out where this Amber is. While the outside world was in chaos, Harry was also on the verge of a breakdown. He'd been spoiled rotten since childhood, developing a violent temper. No one dared to provoke him, he'd directly torment anyone who annoyed him. No one had ever dared to make him crawl like a dog and lick shoes. These were things he did to others. Harry couldn't take it anymore. Defiant, he lay on the ground and yelled, "I'm not doing it. Just fucking kill me." "Okay." Leo replied crisply, stood up with the axe, and aimed it at Harry's neck. The cold touch sent shivers down Harry's spine. In that instant, he wet his pants. Turns out, dying wasn't so easy. He didn't want to die. Harry had a mental breakdown, kneeling on the floor and begging, "Please, don't kill me." Leo tapped the axe handle with his finger, looking slightly troubled. "All right then, answer a few questions for me." Okay. I'll tell you anything." "Who was a university's math department heartthrob a year ago?" Harry suddenly looked at Leo with terror. When he didn't answer, Leo started brandishing his axe again. Harry quickly stammered, It was Mike." "And this year's?" Harry lowered his head. "It's me." "So, what happened to Mike?" At this point, Harry finally realized something. This wasn't an ordinary kidnapping. The kidnappers weren't after money. They knew about the dark secrets no one else knew. "He's dead." "How did he die?" "Slipped, and fell off a building." Leo suddenly clicked his tongue in displeasure, got up, and shoved Harry's head into a nearby bucket of water. He only pulled him out when he was about to drown. "I want the truth. Think carefully before you speak again, or I might get angry." Harry lay on the floor, twitching in fear. To avoid angering Leo further, he didn't dare hide anything else. "A year ago, at the first party I hosted, I invited him. We stripped him naked, hung him outside a fourth-floor window, and filmed him wetting himself in fear. It was just supposed to be a joke, but when we tried to pull him back in, he broke the rope himself and fell, impaled on the anti-climb spikes." Leo stopped fidgeting and fell silent. After a long pause, he looked up at Harry coldly. "You guys are really, even more disgusting than I imagined." Harry sensed the ominous tone and quickly pointed at Chad. "It was their idea. I just wanted to mess with him a bit at first, I never thought of hanging him out the window." Chad's eyes widened, and he flared up. "You son of a bitch, playing that game now, are you? Didn't you tie the rope yourself? Aren't those videos still on your phone? Harry, you dare try to pin this on me?" When this part of the live stream aired, the entire internet was in an uproar. Because everyone knew about that incident back then, just with a twisted version of the truth. The story was that Mike was fooling around with his girlfriend at Harry's villa, got scared of being caught, hid naked outside the window, then slipped, fell, and died accidentally. That explanation even made the news at the time. Everyone gossiped, mocking the university honor student for being wild, saying he'd died a scandalous death. Mike's photos were photoshopped and memed, his girlfriend was harassed and shamed, and even attacked by misinformed but well-meaning people who said she caused his death. Harry and his friends' actions were covered up just like that. This kind of behavior was risky, but also thrilling. After discovering the fun of the game, Harry and his crew started actively seeking out lab rat targets, bringing them to the villa for their depraved games. Some victims accepted large sums of hush money afterward, swallowing their pride and trying to survive. Others tried to report it to the police but were silenced by their powerful families, even falsely accused of slander. Until this live stream exposed the disgusting truth. A university kidnapping live stream quickly became a trending topic, with comments piling up. "Holy crap, what a twist. It's hard to believe these guys are under 20. They're not human, they're demons in human skin. I apologize for badmouthing the kidnappers earlier. Kill these bastards. These guys don't deserve to be saved. They should die. Damn, I'm shaking with anger. How can such demons exist in the world?" Soon, someone posted a long message, "I was Mike's friend for 10 years, and I have something to say." He wrote a 3,000-word post describing an upbeat, optimistic, and cheerful young man. He had spent over a decade studying to get from a rural village to a top university. His dream was to be a teacher and to take his sick mother on a special trip after graduation. He also had a girlfriend, his high school sweetheart. They were deeply in love and had planned to get married after graduation. A young man full of hope for the future died a desperate death. His sick mother committed suicide in front of Harry's family's company building. His girlfriend, who had won scholarships every year, dropped out of school due to depression. Even though his closest friends ran around trying to get justice for him, they couldn't overcome the public narrative. The post went viral. Within half an hour, everyone knew the name Mike. People indignantly condemned Harry and his friends' actions and mourned the innocent young man. And in a bed in a psychiatric hospital, a girl with numerous scars on her wrist stared at her phone screen, a tear rolling down her numb face. Though it was a dark night, she saw a light. She was Mike's girlfriend. That night, she had gone to the party with him. While Mike was being humiliated, hung outside the window, Chad had cornered her in the bathroom, drenching her with the shower head. When she was soaked and standing in the bathtub, he threatened her with a plugged-in hairdryer, telling her to take off her outer clothes or he'd throw it into the tub. At that moment, all she wanted was to survive, to leave that hell with Mike. But she never imagined that she would survive, while Mike would die that night. Mike's death, her horrific experience, the nationwide condemnation and attacks, it crushed her again and again. Finally, after several suicide attempts, her mental health deteriorated. She had never thought this day would come. The day everyone knew the truth. The young woman let out a long suppressed scream. Nurses rushed in to see her laughing hysterically. But her laughter soon turned to tears, from quiet sobs to loud wails. In the police cars rushing to the scene, there was dead silence. Except for the drivers, everyone was staring at their phones, speechless. After a long time, the idealistic young cop, his voice full of confusion, asked, "Captain, what exactly is justice?" The captain in the passenger seat looked out the window, not knowing how to answer. For the next hour, Harry, Chad, and Dylan were locked in 3 separate dark rooms. I sat comfortably in the control room and said, "Time for a quiz game. The first person to give the correct answer gets to skip their punishment. Anyone who adds details can also skip it. As for the last one, hee." I chuckled eerily. "You designed these punishments yourselves, so you should know them best." On the monitor, the 3 of them were sweating coldly, trembling. Crushing a lab rat's fingers, then calling their parents and forcing them to feign happiness while in excruciating pain. Whose idea was that? Harry, already tormented, immediately said, "Chad. That was really his idea." Dylan said almost simultaneously, he first used that method on their basketball coach, just because the coach praised another player for being more talented. The coach's hand was crippled afterward, he could never play basketball again. Only Chad remained silent, his face turning deathly pale. He knew the other 2 must have spilled. What awaited him now? Bang! The door opened. "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Chad trembled, watching Leo walk in. Leo held Chad's phone and shrugged. "Come on. Remember to scream a little louder in a bit." With that, he kicked Chad over, and without hesitation, plunged a nail in his hand into Chad's palm. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the chamber. Harry and Dylan, faintly hearing the sound, both flinched. At the same time, the call connected. Chad wasn't about to feign happiness. He wailed in pain, "Dad. Dad, save me. They're going to fucking kill me." Chad's father was furious. "Isn't it just money you want? I'll give you however much. If anything happens to my son, I'll kill you." Leo clicked his tongue, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, I'm so scared." He paused. "But I could be persuaded to treat him better. In exchange for your family's business secrets." The other end was silent for a long time, then hung up. Leo sounded quite pleased. "Looks like your dad doesn't want you anymore." Chad completely broke down. After hanging up, Chad's father, his face ashen, raged at the police station, "When the hell are you going to find them? What the fuck are you people paid for? The police officers, busy trying to trace IP addresses and rescue the victims, all stared at him silently. One officer accidentally bumped into him, making him stumble. "Oh, sorry. Didn't see an idle person standing here." Second question. "Dylan, how did you get your first leading role?" Before I finished speaking, Chad, clutching his bleeding hand, immediately said, "He threw money at it, invested, and got the original lead actor replaced." Harry added, "At first, the production company didn't agree because the original actor had already been filming for half a month. Dylan got pissed, hit him with his sports car causing fractures, then fled the scene, a hit and run. While the guy was unconscious in the hospital, Dylan paid the media to spread rumors that he was caught with a prostitute and crashed while trying to escape. By the time the actor woke up, his reputation was ruined beyond repair. He hasn't gotten any roles since." I listened silently, then turned to look at my partner, Sky, behind me. Her face was cold, her hands clenched into fists, as if suppressing something. Her younger brother had gone through something similar, slandered by rumors, hounded by public opinion until he committed suicide. "Go. Get justice for the countless innocent victims." Sky put on her mask and walked out. On the monitor, she appeared in Dylan's room. Dylan, scared out of his wits, immediately knelt and begged for mercy. "I was wrong, I was really wrong, I'll never do it again." But Sky walked past him to the camera and turned it away. The following content is extremely graphic. Viewer discretion is advised for minors. All that remained were Dylan's rising and falling wails of pain. Before, this was just another ugly news story, but now, involving the already highly scrutinized entertainment industry, the incident's notoriety skyrocketed. Once Dylan's actions were exposed, a name instantly shot to the top of entertainment trending topics. Joel, the actor who was innocently replaced and whose reputation was destroyed. Whether they were his fans or not, everyone was furious on his behalf. I can't even imagine how such disgusting people can exist in the world. I'm fucking shaking with anger, why don't they just die? I'm not a fan of Joel, but what happened to him is truly infuriating for everyone. Harry, Chad, and Dylan's misdeeds continued to be exposed one by one. In my subsequent questions, none of those who participated in the vile games escaped. Their names, families, and identities were all clearly revealed through the live stream. The vast online audience finally realized that none of the people we had kidnapped were innocent. They were lawless, operating beyond the reach of justice. That's why we stepped in. I love these kidnappers. Please, make sure you get justice for the victims. These aren't kidnappers, they're my heroes. So cool. Justice, even if it's late, always arrives. I'm really worried they'll get caught. This netizen's worry was, indeed, somewhat justified. Because through the window, I could see the searchlights of a police helicopter in the distance. It seemed they'd expended considerable effort to find us. Time's about up. We should get out of here. When the police found the abandoned villa, Harry, Chad, and Dylan were in a room, fighting fiercely. "You fucking sold me out. How dare you? Weren't you pretty eager when you sold me out? All of you can just fucking die." The police watched this scene, then said with some disgust, "Let's go." Harry, who was looking for an outlet for his anger, seemed to find one. He was used to being lawless and had no idea that everything in the villa had been live-streamed. Seeing the young cop's poor attitude, he exploded. "What the fuck is your attitude? Do you know who my dad is?" With that, he kicked out. The officer didn't dodge, just turned to his colleagues and asked, "Got the evidence of assaulting an officer on camera?" Why would Harry be scared? A lowly cop? His family had smoothed over countless things for him. The rich kids walked out arrogantly. It wasn't until they were handcuffed and shoved into police cars that they realized something was wrong. "What are you doing? We're the victims. Why are you cuffing me?" I'm going to sue you. Let me go. I want to go home. The officer who had been kicked turned and said unhurriedly, you might not be going home. Time for a new home. Prison's nice, you'll have a new family there. Harry and the others vaguely sensed that things weren't right, but they weren't particularly scared. In this incident, they were the victims. Their families were wealthy and powerful. As long as their past deeds weren't dug up and made public, they'd be fine. But they never dreamed that their disgusting pasts were now known to everyone. It was no longer a matter of whether their families could protect them. They were facing the judgment of the entire public. Their families themselves were in trouble. Their shady businesses and dirty tricks used to make money were being exposed by the public one by one. In the police car, Harry waited for his family to come get him. Suddenly recalling his experiences over the past few hours, he seethed with anger and said to an officer, "Have you found the kidnappers?" The officer glanced at him. "What for?" "I know who it is," Harry said through clenched teeth. "It's Amber. She attacked me first, then kidnapped me." The police had been searching for Amber but had found no leads. When they arrived at the villa, only Harry and his two friends were there. They couldn't even find the fingerprints of a fourth person. Harry suddenly remembered something. She has an accomplice. The last person I saw before I passed out was Sarah. The officer thought for a moment, then suddenly asked, "Didn't you say it was just a few of you at the party tonight? Who is Sarah? Besides her, was there anyone else? Did you bring them? What for?" Harry's face suddenly changed. The next evening, Amber was found. She had been wandering alone for a day and a night in the large, desolate woods behind the abandoned villa. When found, she was having a mental breakdown, speaking incoherently. "Don't hit me, don't hit me. Ah, ghosts. There are ghosts." After some questioning, the police realized her mental state wasn't fake. She likely wasn't the mastermind behind the kidnapping. So, suspicion turned to me. After all, both Harry and Chad said the last person they saw was me. At the same time, the police also learned about the lab rats from that night. They began searching for the victims one by one. When they found me, I had just bought lunch in the cafeteria. Leo was sitting by the window, looking out, and said softly, "They're here." A few seconds later, plainclothes police officers sat down next to us. "Sarah, Leo, were you at Harry's villa on the night of the 18th? I lowered my head, tears silently falling as if recalling something painful. "Yes." "After 9 p.m., where did you go?" "We just wanted to get out. We heard something seemed to be happening, and the villa's security guards were all heading to the basement, so we took the chance to run out the main gate." There was nothing wrong with that statement. The other lab rats had left the same way. They had just been too panicked to remember who exactly they ran out with. As I spoke, I started to choke up. A female officer sighed and handed me a tissue. But a male officer was sharp and pressed, "You still haven't answered my question. Where did you go?" Leo and I exchanged a look. "To Lakeside." "What were you doing at Lakeside?" I was about to say we went to clear our heads when a female voice came from behind me. "I was at Lakeside, about to commit suicide. They passed by and saved me." I turned in surprise and saw the girl who had been holding the knife, wanting to take Harry down with her. It was Sophie. Was she providing a false alibi for us? Leo glanced at me. It seemed the witness we had originally prepared wasn't needed anymore. "Sophie?" The officer sounded surprised. "We were looking for you too. You just said, the three of you were together that night?" The girl named Sophie rolled up her sleeve, revealing countless scars from cigarette burns. Her expression was sorrowful. "I didn't know when this kind of life would end, so I wanted to die. Sarah and Leo saved me. After that, we were sitting by the lake and saw the kidnapping live stream. Do you know how happy I was?" The officer frowned. But what those kidnappers did wasn't right. But it was effective, wasn't it? If not for them, how many more people would have to die before Harry and his friends got what they deserved? The officers were speechless. Sophie laughed self-deprecatingly. I'm afraid it would have been never. More and more victims came forward with evidence of their abuse. The public demanded swift action against Harry and the others. The internet was flooded with condemnations of them. There's so much evidence, why haven't they been sentenced yet? Are the police trying to downplay this again? If we don't speak up now, who can guarantee they won't be the next victim? If these scumbags enter society later and end up in management positions, there will only be more victims. I don't get why they're so focused on catching the judges. With that time, they should have sentenced Harry and those animals sooner. Death penalty. Death penalty. Public opinion was in an uproar. The police, who were looking for clues about the judges, had to suspend their investigation. 3 months later, the sentences for Harry and the others were handed down. 3 received life sentences, 1 person got 7 years, and another got 5. As for Amber, after we left her in those desolate woods, who knows what she saw that traumatized her so badly. She had a mental breakdown, convinced every day that someone was trying to kill her, and refused to come out of her closet. I guess some vengeful spirits really did take the opportunity to settle scores with her. The day Harry and the others were transferred from the detention center to the courthouse, the sun was shining brightly. From a distance, we heard someone crying and screaming their lungs out, "I don't want to go to jail. I don't. I'm only 19, ah. Just kill me." We stood outside the courthouse watching. We saw a figure collapse to the ground, only to be ruthlessly dragged up by bailiffs and forced to keep moving. This was probably what people meant by, "You made your bed, now you have to lie in it." I turned to leave when, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a few people in the crowd who stood out. A gaunt girl in a hospital gown, supported by someone. A man with deformed fingers and a world-weary face. And a handsome young man wearing sunglasses. They had endured in silence, only daring to appear now to witness the sentencing of those animals. I believe now. Sophie had appeared beside me at some point, her tone calm. I paused. What? In the light. She looked at me and smiled, pursing her lips. It was the first time I'd seen her smile. A girl her age should smile more often. Sophie asked, "Finals are coming up. Want to study together?" I shrugged helplessly. "Maybe tomorrow. I have something else to do today." As soon as I walked into the silver jewelry store, I saw Leo slouching on the sofa inside. I sighed, and at his gestured cue, I took the broken bracelet out of my pocket and placed it on the counter. "Hey, boss. Bracelet repair."